Hey guys, it is Friday, May 29th, 2020. It's hard to believe that June is going to be here in a couple of days. Today we are going to be painting our Patriotic Sunflower Jug. Ooh, y'all, it's hot out here. It's really hot out here. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to get everything pulled up over here. Let's see. Okay, there we go. I hope everybody's doing good. Let's see. My phone is doing something kind of weird. I'm not sure what it's doing. All right, let's see. Y'all, it's like Hot Mess Express day here. You know, the day where you should really shower and clean your hair and you're just kind of rocking it a whole nother day. That's me today. So, I'm sure there's a lot of you moms out here that are feeling like you're on the Hot Mess Express as well. So, all right, y'all, we are going to be painting our Patriotic Sunflower Jug today. This version is the one that just has this single sunflower at the top. We also have a different version that has, I think, a bundle of 3 at the top. So I'm going to just be doing the single sunflower today. Before I forget, because I'm really good at forgetting, I went to Hobby Lobby yesterday and I found this. I already opened it, so I kind of tried to throw it back together so you guys could see it. This is Crafter's Choice. Those same mop brushes that I had I had some 1 inch, I think some 3/4 inch and a 1/2 inch. Those were inside of here. So these are actual camel paint brushes. And so I went ahead and bought it to try it out since I knew that we did like these two. And so I actually used a couple of these yesterday and I really like them. So I'm gonna make a post about that later and tell you guys about that. But I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. So this already has 2 coats of your primed white. As you guys hop in, say hello and let me know that you're there. If you're getting to watch this live with me, let us know that. Or if you're watching on replay, let us know that. All right, so this already has 2 coats of white primed onto it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started with my base coating. First, I'm gonna start with my yellow and go ahead and get my yellow on my sunflower. Now, every time that I'm doing base coating, whatever my color is I'm doing on the top, I always make sure to get my sides done. You know, sometimes that's something that I feel like everybody knows, but I understand, you know, we have new people in here too. So, hey, Lori, I'm so glad you're here. Good to see you, honey. So I kind of just want to remind everybody, always make sure that you're painting your sides. Whatever color I'm doing on the top, I always want to make sure my sides are going to match that. Number 1, it's for the look, you know, for it to look good. And then number 2, it's also for this piece's protection out in the weather. You want to make sure that they just got a lot of paint on those sides to try to prevent any water from getting into there and causing splinting. So I hope you guys are doing well. I hope y'all are having a great week. Next week was supposed to be our wedding in Jamaica that got canceled because of COVID. So it's been kind of one of those weeks where I'm just sad, you know, I'm just a little bit sad, but that's okay. I think Zach and I are going to go on like a little weekend getaway next weekend. But other than that, life's been pretty good. Hey Joy, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you were able to find us live. We're trying to do better about letting you guys know when we're gonna go live. We do have a schedule I'm gonna be putting out next week for June. And that schedule actually has every day that we're gonna go live, when we're gonna go live, what time we're gonna go live, and what we're painting. So hopefully that'll be a little bit easier for you guys. So if you're seeing a pattern that you're like, oh, I know I wanna jump in on that, I wanna see her paint that one, you can already have the schedule of when we are going to do that. Also, you guys, on Monday, we have our sneak peek on Monday, and it'll be for the entire month of June. So we have a lot of patterns that I'll be showing you guys Monday night at 7 p.m. So I hope you guys can tune in then and come check out all the new stuff we're gonna have. I'm super excited. We have so many cute things coming out. And then as well as we've been working on Christmas in July on our end, and trying to get stuff ready for that. So we have so much up and coming things that I think you guys are gonna love. And I hope that you guys are gonna be just as excited as we have been. So let's see. All right, guys, I'm just kind of working on, I got all those edges done with my yellow. So now I'm just kind of smoothing out that paint. I obviously want it to, I don't want my brush stroke showing, so I'm kind of trying to smooth that out so that I can make sure that it looks the way I need it to look. These are also those Cotman mop brushes that I always use, the same ones that we had in stock. I know we're out of stock right now, but my mom Mary has ordered some more, and I believe they'll be in within I don't know, maybe a week or two by now. So, hey Debbie, I'm so glad you're here. I'm just now getting to see you. Hey Victoria, I'm so glad you're here. Miss Victoria, what I'm gonna be doing today, I've been inspired by you, so I actually practiced before doing all of this, so I can't wait to show you what I've come up with. Hey Brenda, I'm so glad you're here too. Yay! Oh, you guys are awesome. All right, so you guys, honestly, I had told y'all whenever we had released this pattern, I guess a week or two ago, I told you I didn't want to do it live because I wanted to learn from Victoria. Anybody who missed Victoria, she signed in, was it this last weekend? Yeah, I think it was Sunday. And she did a tutorial over painting the sunflower, her wheelbarrow that she did with sunflowers. You guys, Victoria's an art teacher. She's a retired art teacher, so she knows what she's doing. And if you missed that, you have got to go watch that again. She taught us so many different options for how to paint sunflowers. And honestly, it was fantastic. But for me, it was also almost a little overwhelming because I was like, I didn't know which way to go. So I kind of did it in my own flair and in my own way. But I really loved what she taught us. So I'm gonna be using some of that here in a little bit after I get done base coating this and when I switched over to the new one. So I can't wait to show you guys. Has anybody else that's on here? Did you guys get to see what she did on her live with her sunflowers? I loved it. And we already have an open door invitation for you, Miss Victoria, anytime you wanna come in. Hey, Christy, I'm so glad you're here. How are you guys doing? I've been seeing, a lot of people have been spending lots of family time and doing fun things with the kiddos, so that's awesome. I think my squirt bottle has a little booger at the end of it, so it's not wanting to come out. So I'm just gonna have to use my lid on here. All right, y'all, in the middle, I'm using just nutmeg. I think it's nutmeg 32. I think it's 32. I printed out a paint list to keep over here on my table, and as anybody can imagine if you know me, it's still sitting on my computer table. So I had good intentions, it just didn't happen. So, oh Joy, you got to watch Miss Victoria's, her sunflower video. That's so awesome. Honestly, I think I was so much more excited than anybody. I could not wait to learn. I love, love, love how she explains stuff to us. I don't have a background in art. I didn't even take art in school. I did a lot of other things. I did a little bit of choir, or I did, let's see, I did hospitality, co-op type thing. I did all sorts of things, but art was not my thing. So everything I've learned from my mother, and I've learned over time. And so being able to learn from somebody who has an art background, for me, it's fantastic, because I've looked at trying to go to some art classes and learn some different painting skills. I only know what I know, so everything I don't know, I obviously don't know. So I love learning, obviously. Who doesn't love to learn? I always want to learn how I could do things better and be better. Hey Terry, I'm so glad you joined. So Miss Terry, I was just kind of filling everybody in about Miss Victoria's tutorial that she did on the sunflowers and how excited I was to learn from her, and that I wanted to wait to do this live until after I was able to learn from her and play with some different things that she did. So if you're just tuning in, you haven't missed anything. I'm just working on my base coating right now to get this ready so that we can then do our shading and outlining. Except on this one, I really don't shade anything because the space is so small, but you guys will see after I move on from this one to my dry one. All right, so on this one, this is just your red number 20, and I'm just gonna do every other one down here. You guys, the paint that we've always used, they've switched their vendor that makes it. I don't know how to explain how that works, but they've switched their vendor. So they have a new vendor making these, the gallons of paint for us. Sorry, I'm making a big mess over here because I'm trying to talk too much, I think. Okay, 33 nutmeg. Thank you, Debbie. So y'all, on this red, our newer red, it's a lot thicker. The red that we've always had has been very, very thin and almost liquidy, and this one's a lot thicker. And so I'm kind of liking the newer, I guess the newer brand, or newer manufacturer, I could say. Liking what they've put together as far as the red goes, because anybody who's worked with red, I don't know if you know this, but the pigment is difficult to work with. It's not something that's ever quite the way you want it. So, oh, Miss Terry, I'm so glad Terry's saying she finally got notifications. I know we've been talking about so many people, including my mother, have been trying to get live notifications from our group about when we go live. And you can go into your settings and turn that on so that, you know, if a group goes live or a page goes live that you like, you know, it'll notify you. Except a lot of our people that are in our group, including my mother, she and them have not been getting notifications. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I guess they seem to have fixed it. So that's awesome. All right, y'all, so red number 20, I'm done with that on my base coat. The only thing I have left to do is navy blue number 6. So I'm gonna do my navy blue here. I don't know if you can notice, but my space is not very big. So earlier, whenever I was doing my dry version that I already have ready for when we get done base coating this, I actually used my script liner to do the stars and do that whole blue. And the reason I did that is because for me, there's not much space to get a mop brush in there. And so by the time I do the mop brush and then have to come back with the script liner to touch up those stars, for me, it just made sense to go ahead and do the whole thing with the script liner. So that's what I'm gonna do. So now I'm just switching to that navy blue, number 6, and I'm loading up my script liner, and I get a lot of paint in here. You know, technically you really shouldn't be getting paint all the way up to your metal, I believe it's the ferrule, the metal part of your brush, but that's what I do. So I only know how to teach you guys what I know. So I just load a lot and I get to work. So right now I'm kind of just going around and hitting those lines that are already etched on here for me. Because for me personally, it might not work the same for everybody, but for me personally, it's a lot easier to do this with script liner so that I'm not having to come in on this navy with 2 different brushes. I like to save time. Time is very, very precious to me. So I'm just gonna actually use my script liner to kind of get my edges and do the whole navy blue. You don't have to do it that way. If you prefer to use your mop brushes, that's totally fine, or whatever way you want to do it. This, for me, just seems to kind of fit the bill a little bit better. So, hey, Carol, I'm so glad you're here. I know you haven't seen us too much lately. Honestly, we have been working on a ton of stuff behind closed doors. So on Monday, we will fill you guys in on what all that looks like, but it has been quite a workload for us. So we have had to kind of step back a little bit to gear ourselves up for what we have coming so that we are prepared when we bring something to you. Because when we started this whole painting blank things, I don't know if anybody could tell, insert, you know, eye roll here. Everybody could tell. But, you know, we didn't know what we were doing. We're kind of flying by the seat of our pants and we weren't prepared. So this next venture that we have, we want to be prepared. And so we've had to obviously take the time to do that. So that's why you guys haven't seen us so much. Next week, and I want to say it looks like almost every week in June, we'll be having 2 lives. We have a calendar already made that has what we're painting on what days that we will be getting out to you guys. So I'm hoping that in future months, meaning beginning in June, which is Monday, this will all be so much more easier for you guys to know what we're doing and to also take the guesswork out of everything. So forgive us, yes, we've been busy, but we've also been busy working for you guys and trying to get some stuff together that I think that you guys are really gonna like. So bear with us. It's all gonna get more, hopefully, more organized starting next week. And I'm just so excited. Carol says she's excited too. I cannot wait. You guys, this is you know, I've told you, a lot of you guys, that this whole thing kind of came about, the whole blank thing. I had wanted to do this back in January, but it was one of those things like, okay, well, we got to get prepped for it, right? But then Corona happened. And so, you know, it's kind of like one of those moments that you just have to maybe change the way that you thought things were going to work and do it a different way, which has been successful for us. You know, so it's been great. It just kind of came a little bit faster than we anticipated. But truthfully, anybody who knows me, anybody who's talked to me, I've always told people that I have this goal, a long-term goal that I wanted to, and my thought was initially that I wanted to have people working for me that I could really teach painting and do like mass production of yard art. And I always described it as like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, standing at the front of the room in the chocolate factory and kind of teaching everybody everything that you know, and then them doing that. That was truly my vision for where I was going to go in this life and where I was going to take this. And I realized the other day, that's pretty much what I am doing, except the chocolate factory is your guys' house. You know, I'm still able to teach to the masses, and you guys are still able to learn, you know. And so it's crazy to realize that a dream that I've had for, I don't know, years has really come true, just in a little bit of a different way. So it's been such a blessing. It's been a lot, but it's been such a blessing. And so we're so happy to be able to do this for you guys, and I'm so happy that you guys are here enjoying it with us. So, all right, y'all, so that navy blue, the script liner, yeah, it might have probably taken me a little bit longer than it would have with a mop brush, but my stars are already done. I don't have to worry about backing up to those stars later. They're already traced out. So as far as that goes, all I have to do is kind of outline my outer edge on the blue, but the inside of that blue is done. So that's your base coated version that's finished. Let me move this and clean out my brush right quick, and we will switch over to one that I have that is dry. Now, whenever I originally set out to have these two, or to do this pattern, I only kept two at my house. So I actually practiced on this one. I don't know if you can see it. And then I painted back over what I did, which it was very pretty. But I painted back over it because I didn't have another example to use for the live. So if y'all see any random lines on there, that's because I had to paint over my finished work to make sure I had a dry one for our live. So this is the same exact thing we just did. It's just dry. Now, as far as this goes, on my red, white, and blue, all of my space is way too small. I'm not going to try to put a shader in there because it's really going to take away from the space that's there. And since that space is already very narrow, it's really going to change the look, and it's going to change the whole color scheme that I'm trying to have going. So the bottom part, I'm leaving completely done. I'll have to outline it in black. But as far as shading, I'm not shading any of that. Now, my flower and my leaves, I'm also not shading. I'm going to use a couple of different techniques. Now, what I'm going to start with is my flowers and kind of my wispy lines. Those of you that weren't here on the live at the beginning, I got this at Hobby Lobby yesterday. It's $12.99. This is the Royal Crafter's Choice brush set that they have. So it's, I think 12 brushes, or 15 brushes for $13. The whole reason I bought this, I never, ever, ever, ever buy pre-packaged brushes. I always buy them separate individual brushes. But I bought the pre-packaged one because it had the two mop brushes that we've used before, or that we had purchased, and you guys were able to purchase some of them. And I liked these two mop brushes. For their price, I thought that they were a decent value. Now, I don't think these brushes would necessarily last you 30 years, but hey, you paid less than $1 each in this pack, so, you know, that's pretty awesome. So I grabbed this pack, and I did go ahead and use, oh, let me see, which one did I use? I think it was this one. This is your round tip number 2. And this is what I'm going to use on the center of my flowers. Now, anybody who watched Victoria's live, she gave you a ton of different options. She used some camel and shading red that looked fantastic. I loved it. It was beautiful. And I tried the same look on here, but with the red, white, and blue, I personally wanted something that really, really popped. So I stuck with my shading orange. So you guys see how small my brush is? It's really fine tip. It's about the size or the length of a fingernail. It's not very long. It's very, very small. But I liked this because it's gonna give me those wispy lines that I want to achieve. So this is just my shading yellow. It has a little bit of water in it because it's what I always use, so I'm gonna use it. And I'm kind of dipping that in, and I'm gonna start right here on the line where the nutmeg meets the yellow. Now, I kind of just was, again, following what Victoria was showing us and taking those wispy lines and kind of creating the center part of that flower. So as you guys can see, just a couple of strokes, and you're kind of creating that illusion of a flower, but with paint. And I just loved this. I thought this was so beautiful and so simple to achieve. And I love, love, love the way that Victoria would explain all of this. I just could not get enough of her and her tutorial. It was awesome. So I'm gonna actually use this and just kind of do those center parts of those flowers. Really, you don't have to have any certain amount. It's kind of whatever you feel. I almost do about 6 on each petal. I'm a woman of habit. So once I do something and I like it, I just stick with it. And I keep doing it over and over and over. And that's just me. But I really love the wispy lines that this brush is able to give me. Real light and wispy, and it's brand new. And I already love the lines that it's giving me. So if you guys, I want to know, have y'all found any paintbrushes that you guys really like? Have you had luck going to Hobby Lobby or Michael's or shopping online and finding something that was good? I know we can always find stuff, but was it good is the question. So I'm curious to know what y'all found and what y'all have liked so far. Hobby Lobby also had some paintbrushes on sale half off. I'll show you some of those that I picked up that were half off. I haven't tried those. This is the only one I broke out of the package because I just went yesterday and haven't had time to really sit and try to mess with all of them. But you know, sometimes it's just nice to go try to get some new brushes and play with them a little bit. All right, guys, so that's kind of where I'm starting. So as far as shading, this is really in place of my shading. I'm not using a shader. This is just a round tip number 2. It's Crafter's Choice. I got it at Hobby Lobby, and I personally really liked it. I thought it worked great. I washed it just with some cool water and painted with it immediately after. I didn't even try to soak it in Murphy's oil or anything. It's already a soft brush, so it was good to go for me. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and also outline my petals because I want to do this brown, but I kind of need this yellow to back up into that brown so that I'm not pulling the brown out of the center if it was wet. I'd rather pull yellow around the center than to pull brown out of it because of wet paint. So I am just gonna grab my script liner, and me personally, I'm gonna outline with the same shading yellow. I'm gonna show you why here in a little bit. I will add contrast to this, but this just for me, like I said, I played with some colors and kind of tried to determine what I really liked. And for me, I love the brightness of the yellow and the shading yellow. And then I'm gonna use some shading orange as well. So you guys will get to see this really come to life. And in fact, earlier, the one I was working on, I didn't even fully finish it. So I haven't even got to see this pattern finished in the way that I'm doing it yet. I got to see it about 75% finished, but just not quite done. Some of my lines are etched a little deep, so if you're seeing me going back over the same exact line, that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to fill in that etching. For whatever reason, my machine likes to be weird sometimes. And so it will, some sheets it'll cut too light where I'm missing half the pattern on half the pieces, so I can't even sell them or paint them. And then I'll, bring that etching down a little bit, and then it'll carve so deep that it's like, it's gonna take 10 strokes to go over some of those lines. I don't know what's going on with it. It's just been kind of crazy. I really think that the top of my table isn't level. So I have to have my cutting depths a little bit deeper than I really like them due to that. So, all right. So far, all I've done is I used my round brush, Crafter's Choice number 2, on the little inside of my petals, and I just used my script liner number 4 on the outside. All the same color, it's all shading yellow. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually flip this around and outline the bottom because I need that to dry a little bit so that I can do the centers and I can add the orange to my flowers. This pattern it's pretty simple. I would say it doesn't have a lot of shading, and I know shading's kind of hard for people. It doesn't have much shading. It has a lot of outlining, but you know, no shading. And you only have a couple of colors too, so you also don't have to worry about multiple outline colors. It's a little bit more straightforward, if you would. All right, so now I'm just gonna do my black. I'm gonna go ahead and outline the blue and the red and the white stripes in just regular black. This black already has a little bit of water added to it, and I'm just using my script liner. Alrighty. I know I've seen a couple of you guys have posted pictures that you've worked on this. Have any of you guys watching been able to work on yours? Or have you guys been waiting on me? I know I've seen a lot of you guys have come by and picked them up. I think this pattern is so, so cute. And I actually got this from the Cracked Ginger. She does her own patterns and sells them, and I just think they're beautiful. She has some really cute stuff. And I was actually on her website earlier, and she released a lot more cute stuff. And I'm like, I already made my schedule for June and July. Like, maybe I need to go revise it and add a couple more things. Hey, Allison, I'm so glad you're here. How are you guys doing? So yeah, I've just been over here, like I said, been working like crazy. Same old, same old. We've got some friends coming over, a couple of friends coming over tomorrow, so we've kind of got some stuff to prep for that. But other than that, our life's pretty boring. It's very consistent. We go to H-E-B and we go to Yard R Us store and we stay home. That's pretty much it. Oh, Allison, I'm glad you guys are doing good. I miss y'all too. I wish you guys still lived in Texas. But I'm glad Kentucky's treating you well. Alrighty, y'all. These lines, like I said, they're a little bit deep on this piece, so typically I want to just do this line once, but that's not always possible because my carving is a little deeper than I like it. And I get really annoyed if I see any little white specks poking through, so I always have to make sure I don't have specks poking through. If you don't care for the black on here, on the bottom with the red and white stripes, you can always take your red and just follow your red lines and take that red into those etched lines that I'm doing with my black. You can always do that with the red or the white and leave it just those two colors with no black if that's something that you prefer. All right, now as far as my bottom goes, I'm gonna let it dry. I am gonna highlight it, but my outline is done on that. So I'm gonna actually flip it back around and come back to the top. I thought I'd give myself some drying time, but I guess a minute's not really much drying time now, is it? Hey Debbie, yeah, we had a big Memorial Day. I don't even know what we did last weekend. Oh, I had a couple of friends over for a paint party, and one of them has a 10-year-old daughter that got to hang out with Carly, and then both of them painted. And so we enjoyed that. We had so much fun. We had a blast. We were working on some Christmas stuff actually, because the Christmas in July, I wanted some different versions of stuff. I know how I paint it, but I want to see how other people paint it. And it was super, super interesting to me to see, ladies in the back, to see how other people would choose to paint things without ever seeing, you know, a sample beforehand. I love seeing that. I love seeing what colors people come up with. All right, y'all. So now I think what next I'm going to do, I am going to grab, I have this super old brush, and it is stiff, stiff, stiff. It is hard, hard, hard. The only thing, I literally only pull this out once a year. As you can see, it's got a lot of white paint on it. When I paint my white glitter nativities, I take this brush out because it has a couple real small corners in there that you can't get to with anything else. And I use this brush because it's so stiff, I can get in those corners of those nativities. So literally, that's the only time I ever pull this brush out, because it is so hard and it doesn't really work well with, you know, smoothing paint or shading or outlining or any of that. So I thought I would pull it out because Victoria had showed us this, to use a really hard brush and a little bit of paint, and to do some kind of strokes in the center, like dabbing strokes, to get the look of a sunflower. And I loved it. Now, she had a word for it, and I don't remember what it was. And I have no idea what it's called, but it's called something. Maybe she'll fill us in. So I'm going to take a little bit of shading brown and just get a little bit on my plate. If y'all could see, this is what I was working with earlier when I did my example sunflower. What are you doing, crazy dog? So I'm just getting a little bit on that tip, and I'm hitting it on my plate to get all that excess out. I don't want much on my brush. I want hardly any. I want my brush almost dry. So I'm just getting a little bit and kind of load it in. It's almost like dry brushing, just with a circle brush. And you just kind of come down on here. Now it's not, it looked really good earlier. Of course, now that I'm live, it's gonna give me that I don't want to work with you kind of thing. So let me see. Let me try to load them more. Now this brush in particular, when it's hitting down, it's almost creating little circles. And I just love the way that it looked. You got any old paint brushes that are circular laying around, or even you could use it with a square one too. You could still make it work. But I do think the circle is going to provide you, oh look, I got some yellow in there. Whoopsie. That's okay. Cover it up with a little bit of brown. That happens, huh? I'm always really good at making messes. I think it's a specialty of mine. So, let's see, I'm missing out. So Debbie says, love Danae's blue butterfly. Hey, Danae was one of the ones over here painting with me last weekend. Her and I went to school together. All right, so over here I got a little bit of yellow pulled in, which I didn't want on there, but that's okay. I'm trying to see if I could show you guys what that really looks like. Might be hard to see with the lighting, but it's very subtle. I don't want it to be too much. That's just me personally. You don't have to make it subtle. You could make it bold. I might just add just a touch more. I don't know. You know, you can go until you want to stop. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of black, literally just a little dab. I'm not even going to wash my brush. I'm keeping the brown that I already have, that shading brown I already have in here. Dabbing it in the black. And then I'm going to kind of offload my brush on my plate and try to get that soaked into my brush so I can get a little darker black tone on top of what I just did. So let's see. There we go. Might look kind of weird yet, but just trust me. I thought this looked really, really cute earlier. Y'all, I'm just like, I don't know if there's any teachers out there, any teachers that are watching me, but I used to teach school. And anytime I would teach a new lesson that I had never taught before, I always kind of practiced what I was gonna do, or made sure that I, you know, Googled anything, made sure I knew everything I was talking about. So before I did this, obviously, before I did a sunflower, because I'm not good at realistic, I wanted to play with it and kind of see where it took me. And this was a look that I did earlier that I just love, that simplicity. So I got the nutmeg backing in here, and then a little bit of shading brown with this brush, my old, nasty, hard circular brush. All you need is something with very, very hard bristles. So I just took that, loaded a very, very small amount of paint in the center, and just dabbed it on there with shading brown and black. I'm gonna go ahead and put my brush up. I'm gonna put that up and let it go, because now I'm gonna move on and, I'm trying to think. I'm gonna do my brown last. I'm gonna actually add a little bit of shading orange right now to my sunflowers. And the reason I'm doing that next is because if any of that comes up here to my brown, when I'm outlining this circle of brown, I don't mind if a little bit of orange gets into that. I just don't want to do the orange on my flowers last and bring the brown from the middle outward. I'd rather keep the brown in the center. So this is just shading orange. And I'm using my script liner. I'm just gonna do a little bit in very, very light wisps along the outer edges of my petals, and then also a couple of wisps in the inside of my petals. So I'm not trying to follow along with that perimeter like I did on my outline. I'm kind of just giving it almost some highlights onto those petals. So a little bit of shading brown on top of your shading yellow. Or I said shading brown, I'm sorry. Shading orange on top of your shading yellow. Hey Mom, how are you? I'm glad you were able to come hang out. I know she was on a conference call a little bit ago. I was calling her before the live, letting her know I was gonna go live and all that. So I guess she was able to get all that done. Now, I'm gonna just kind of throw a little bit in the middles. There's really no right or wrong. I don't feel the need to put as much as I did on the yellow. I kind of want this to just be almost like an accent to what I've already done without overtaking what I've already done, if that makes sense. So just a little bit. I think I honestly need to add a little bit of water. I'm not liking the drag that it's given me. My brush is kind of dragging and not giving me a smooth line, and I prefer my lines to be a little smoother. So let me just add a little water, see if that'll help. I'm also, guys, as soon as I'm loading, I'm also offloading. I don't want very much on this process. I want a very small amount of paint on my brush. I don't want it overtaking everything that I'm doing. Now, I kind of, like I said, this is something that I really watched Victoria's tutorial, and I tried to take a lot of the things that that she did from that and bring that to life in this piece for myself. But you know, if you guys don't like the way I did it, please go watch her video. She really taught you a lot of different options and a lot of different color options. It's just fantastic. I loved her tutorial. All right, y'all, so that's my branches with the, my flower buds with the yellow background, some yellow shade, and then a little bit of a shading orange. Honestly, you can keep going and going and going and make it as detailed as you want, but that's about as detailed as I personally want to get. Now, on my center, I'm gonna just wash out my script liner, and I'm gonna switch right back over to that shading brown. Shading browns, remember that initial one that I was doing underneath the black on my centers? And I am just simply going to outline my circle. And then I'm gonna do a little bit more detailed work from there. But I personally liked the look of it, but you know, I'll do it for you guys, I'll show you guys, and if y'all don't like it, no worries. You don't have to do it like that. You can do it however you want. That's the fun thing about this painting yard art is there's really no right or wrong to doing whatever it is that you're wanting to do. You know, make it look as personalized for you and your family or your house or whoever it is that you're making it for as you want. That's the fun in it. That's why I love DIYs, because I can always go buy something at the store, but it's always nice being able to do what you vision. Okay, so far all I did was outline the circle. Now, your sunflowers have, their centers are almost rounded and like rounded, oh gosh, rounded little pods. I'm not sure how to explain this into words. Instead of being just an actual, you know, circle. So earlier I was kind of playing around with this, and I took my brush, my script liner, and I just kind of created little semicircles almost, I guess you would call it. It's just kind of like an added detail that I found to be very cute. But you know, you don't have to do this if you don't like it. I just thought it really gave our flower a little more personality. So I'm just coming right back over here, the same exact shading brown, and just doing really small little humps, little letter C's basically. And just creating the illusion that this line is not a single, or is not a perfect circle. It's got those kind of rough sunflower edges to it. Okay. Can y'all see that? I just kind of created a little rounded swoopy lines. I'm not sure how to explain that. I need to get better at my vocabulary when I'm trying to tell you guys about something. So that's what I've got so far on that center. Now I'm going to take black and come right over top of this while it's wet. That sun is coming in, it's just hitting me at the right angle. But while it's wet, I'm going to come in with a little bit of black. I did this with the script liner earlier, and I wasn't 100% sold on the script liner, so I'm actually going to go back to that round tip number 2 Crafter's Choice that I picked up at Hobby Lobby yesterday, and I'm going to see if I like this one better than I liked my script liner. So I'm going to just go back to black and get a little bit of black on the tip of here, and kind of bring your swoops in where we already put those little letter C's. You're just kind of coming in here and almost defining that, but with your black. Now, since your brown's wet and your black's wet, yes, it is going to be blending a little bit. Your black's not going to be as heavy and as stark as it would normally be if it was dry. And I think that's why I liked it wet, because I didn't want it to be really dark on my flowers. That's just me personally. You could always outline these in black, outline your center in black, and that would be totally fine. I just didn't want it to be too dark. So as I'm loading a little bit, and then I have to offload this as well, because it does end up having a ton of brown, and I do want a little bit of black showing through. I don't want a lot of black showing through, but I do want some. Can you guys see the black that I did on there? Not too much, it's very, very light. But I personally love the way that that looks. Hey Heather, I'm so glad you're joining us. We're actually almost done. All I have left to do now, y'all, is to add a little bit of my white highlights. As far as my colors go, I love the way this looks. I love the simplicity of it. You know, you can keep going. When you're doing flowers or anything like that, you can always add more, or you could take some away. For me, I kind of wanted to leave it at this and not do too much, because for me, less is more, and too much can become overwhelming in my brain. And I don't like the way some stuff looks if I try to go and keep going and keep going and keep going. It just becomes overwhelming in my brain, and I don't care for it. I prefer simple. So even though I didn't make the sunflower super simple, for me, I don't want to make it, you know, too difficult either. So I'm going to just now add a little bit of white highlights. Honestly, on my sunflowers, I probably should have done that prior to putting down the brown, because now there's a high chance that I'm going to get some brown in my white and pull it up on my flower. But if I do, that's okay. Y'all know I can always fix that whenever it dries. Ooh, I drug it in some black there at the bottom, but that's okay. Wipe it out and keep going. Alrighty, let's see. Oh, you know what I just got to thinking? I almost think I want some camel in the center. I think I do. I think I want some camel in the center of the sunflower, and the reason I've just said that is because I'm going to highlight, but I don't necessarily want white highlights in there. I want maybe a lighter tone of a brown, and I think camel would be a good highlighter for the inside of that as far as your color goes. I don't know. Let me finish with my flowers, and I might try to add a little bit of camel to that. Who knows? I might like it, I might not. The good thing is, if I don't like it, I can repaint it when I'm done. Or after it dries, I can repaint those little spots that I don't quite care for. All right, so I'm just now taking that white and kind of trying to come in between some of these lines I already have down here. I am coming up very, very lightly with my brush. I'm almost not even pushing it down, just kind of letting it glide across the top. And I'm really allowing my brush to take me where it wants to go. I don't know if you noticed, I didn't load any paint. I've been kind of using the paint that I already had in my brush until it completely ran out. I don't want too much on here because I don't want thick lines. I want it to be thin and wispy to kind of match the look that I've already achieved with my petals. Got a little bit of black on there. That's okay. It's actually on my brush. Wipe it out, keep on going. All right, so let's try the middle. Who knows? I haven't tried this on my own, so who knows if I'm gonna like it, but we're gonna try it together because I really feel like I need something a little bit lighter in there. Just a little bit. So I'm just gonna get like a tiny, tiny bit of camel. This brush is wet because I already put it in the water, so I'm not sure this is gonna turn out the way I want it to, but we're gonna find out together. I'm trying to dry out that brush as much as I can. This is just a really, really old, stiff, round brush. That's all it is. I never use it on anything other than painting some edges on Christmas nativities because it's not a good brush for really anything else. Ooh, okay, y'all. I think I might like that. I'm kind of using this almost in place of a highlighter of my white. I don't want, when I have stuff that's really, really dark like this, and it's kind of those neutral tones, I don't like to put white on it because it almost just, I don't know, it kind of messes, it messes with the look that I'm going for. So all I did was actually just took literally a drop of camel and dropped it on there. And there we go. What do you guys think? This is my finished look. I know that lighting is coming in super, super weird. So I can also get a photo of this after the live and post it for you guys with the light, the real light on it. Because the light coming in out of my window is kind of crazy. But it's inspired by Victoria. I loved learning from her. And I used some of her techniques to do this. And I personally liked the way that this looks. I liked the simplicity of it, but I also liked the fact that this yellow and the shading yellow and the shading orange was a real pop with the red, white, and blue. So personally, that's why I went for that choice. So anybody who wasn't here from the beginning, I started off with 2 coats of white and then just base coated. So I base coated your light yellow, nutmeg as your base on your middle, navy blue on your pot and your red stripes. And then I came in with a, Crafter's Choice No. 2 fine point brush. Those of you that missed it too, I think I've said this 3 times, but I like to make sure you guys know. I went to Hobby Lobby yesterday and they had this brush set, 15-piece for $12.99. These are the same brushes it has in here, those mop brushes that we used, or that we had a couple of weeks ago. We're already sold out of those. And that's the only reason I bought it, because I liked those mop brushes. So I bought this to try it out because they have flat brushes, mop brushes, and they have your round tip brushes as well. And they just have a ton of different options to choose from. And honestly, every one I've picked up and I've used, it's been really soft and it's worked well with our paint. So I used my Crafter's Choice round tip No. 2 to kind of do the inside petals of my leaves with a shading yellow. And then I kind of came back over top of that with a little bit of shading orange. And in the center of my flower, my base was nutmeg. I did some shading brown, black, and camel on there. And that is how I got my look. So you guys, honestly, go get these. If you are needing some more brushes and you want to try some different ones that aren't expensive, I personally liked these. I thought that they were pretty good. You know, if you're paying less than $1 for a brush, I'm not going to say that these will last you 30 years. Can't promise you that. But I think that they were decent for their price. Also, I want to let y'all know, Master's Touch paint brushes at Hobby Lobby right now are 50% off. I've never personally used these, so I grabbed a couple of round tips that I could use. Obviously, I haven't even opened them out right now. But like this one was $8. I paid $4 for it. This one was $9, so I paid $4.50. So those are half off this week. They have a ton of other options. They have some mop brushes. They had some goat mop brushes that were very soft that might be pretty decent. And then they also have a ton of royal brushes. This one was not half off, but how cool is this? Your flat wisp. I'm going to attempt to use this for some wispy lines soon, because I feel like I'm so stuck into my brushes and I want to learn some new brushes. So I got some new ones because I want to learn how to use them. And then I also picked up another Crafter's Choice kind of set that they had for $5. Again, the only reason I picked these up is because I like the mop brushes, so I figured why not try some of these other ones and see if I like them. And that's what I did. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you liked watching my tutorial. This piece is ready in store right now, so if you guys are wanting it, y'all can go over there during business hours, or you could of course order online and then just pick up in store. Any of these pieces that we already have in stock, when you order, we usually pull that order within 30 minutes, a couple hours, you know, any time frame like that. We get it pulled very quickly. So you don't have to wait a day or a week or anything like that to come pick it up. If our blanks are showing that they're in stock online, then that means they're in store unless we've told you otherwise. So this is in store. And then Monday, we're gonna have our live with all of the blanks, your sneak peek from all the blanks for the entire month of June. So I hope you guys will join me then, because that's the next time I will be live. And I will go ahead and get a photo of this posted online if you guys want to look at it up closer. Thank y'all so much for joining me on this Friday night. I hope y'all have a fantastic weekend. I can't wait to see you guys on Monday and tell y'all all about the new stuff we got going on and show y'all all our new patterns. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.